Right. So we are live streaming on YouTube as well. So that's the reason why it's taking time. Right. So turn to the page number 15 of your right. So I'm back with the start of the constructions, the loci and the construction. So when it comes to the construction is concerned, right, your O-level syllabus will have questions on grade 9, 10, and 11 as usual, starting from your very basic loci or the very basic losses, right, where you need to start drawing your constructions, right, in a proper way, right? When it comes to your paper is concerned, you will have one single major question in your part 2 paper in the B section most probably, right? And for that 10 marks, right, now you have to have a strike a balance, right? If you want to do the construction, right, or if you want to do a question on any other area, right, you need to select, right, the most easiest one first, and please select the most hardest. So how to identify that? So don't prejudge or don't have an idea from home itself. I'm not going to do the construction, I'm not going to do the construction. No, don't have that, because there might be some questions which are very easy, right? Because construction meaning using your tools and show your skill of drawing the loci, right? And also the construction is not only the construction chapter that is tested. If you look at your past paper or if you look at your syllabus, right, the loci and scale diagrams and the construction, these are all combined and tested most of the time, right? I'll give you time to send questions. So let's focus on the area we have. So in your syllabus, grade 9, 10, 11, I have summarized whatever we have in the throughout, right? So starting from your very basic 4 locus, right? And page number 15 of the tube, if you have, right, I will share as well. And also few things to note when it comes to the constructions, right? You need to have a very good tool, very good. You need to have very good tools. Your at least take 2 pencils and one compass and straight edge or the rulers, right? And when you are drawing them, right, try to draw at once. To avoid that, to make mistakes, what can we do in the exam paper, right? So in the exam, without drawing the actual paragraph or the actual diagram, read the whole question and have a rough sketch will make your life very much easier in the exam, because you need to fight with the time and the skills, right? So, and also you can't make mistake and to erase and then draw again, because the time is very limited, right? Even a very talented student might come home and say, I couldn't do the construction because of the time. So time is limited for everyone. So be wise and do, right? And also you can keep time and practice on this construction, because some students take longer for the constructions, right? This is not only the calculation, isn't it? So you need to get the idea how this is going to be. But if you catch this area, it's really easy and you will never lose these 10 marks, right? So to start off with, right, have a rough sketch and also draw the lines very clear. Don't have 2-3 lines, right? If you are drawing a Xcircle or you are drawing in circle, don't have 2-3 lines one on the other. Then nicely erase and draw it, right? And that is the very important point that you need to have, right? Okay, so when it comes to the constructions, take 2-3 pencils or 2 pencils at least, because you will have no time to sharp again and use it. So okay, so have one in the compass and have one for writing, okay? And use pencils, right? And then for the entire graph, it's better if you can use the pencil and some with high, dark pencils, okay? And even at least to label you can use pen, no problem, but if you are confident enough. So to avoid making mistakes in the exam hall when it comes to the construction and the loci, have a rough sketch, okay? That will make your life easier, and also to save the time and to avoid mistakes, right? Okay, so to start off with the construction part, We have the loci and construction. A set of points satisfying one or more condition is known as a locus. So what is a locus? So locus is basically a path or direction how a movement happens, isn't it? The basic meaning, right? So even in grade 9 you have, or grade 10, you have studied the very 4 basic loci or the loci. That is your circle, right? Perpendicular bisector, angular bisector, and parallel line segments, right? If you look at your circle, circle is drawn with a fixed point, isn't it? So, right, just consider this as a circle, right? So you can draw a circle over here, right? So circle is something that we have a locus on the midpoint. So locus of a point moving equidistant from a fixed line is known as the circle, right? Then what is your perpendicular bisector? You will have a line and you will have to draw your perpendicular bisector, the steps and all given to you. So what is the meaning of perpendicular bisector? Perpendicular means 90 degree, that is perpendicular 9, right? And then bisecting the length into 2, right? So you might get practical questions like there are 2 trees and you need to plant or you need to put up a tap over there, or there are 2 parapets, or there are 2 walls and you need to put something in between where you need to find the fixed points, right? So that is a locus of 2 given points, right? Moving equidistant. So likewise for the perpendicular and even for circles, right? Because these very basic circle is the one which becomes the Xcircle, Xcircle, where you need to find out your exact midpoint of drawing. Okay. And then the parallel line segment. So how to draw a parallel line segment? Already you are given a straight line and you need to draw a parallel line segment for this, right? You have studied 2 methods in your grade 9. One is using your set squares, which is not allowed in your O-level paper, and you need to use your construction, right? So to draw 2 parallel line segments. And also you should know how to draw a angular bisector. We have an angle here and we are bisecting it into 2, right? We will look at this individually one by one, right? Cool. So that is about the 4 very basic loci, right? And your perpendicular bisector, circle, right? Angular bisector or angle bisector, and the line parallel or parallel line segment, the pair of parallel line segments. Okay. Right. So now the steps are given to you, right? I'm not going to go one by one for this perpendicular bisector and the angular bisector, but I have mentioned the steps over here, right? How you need to draw. But remember, for you to do the construction, there's no only one particular method for certain cases. For drawing a perpendicular bisector, for drawing an angular bisector. So there can be slightly different ways, right? Even if you YouTube it, you can see, or your teacher might have studied, taught you in a different way, or maybe your tuition master has taught you in a different way. That doesn't matter if you get the right workings, or if you get the right drawings and the constructions, then as long as it's fine, then you can use it. But for certain, there are fixed methods, right? So you should be flexible of it, right? And you should have a good practice on it, right? Without practice, maths paper is not a piece of favorite cake, right? So therefore, let's move on, right? So what is meant by perpendicular bisector is this, where we have 2 fixed point here, A and B. And if you want to draw this perpendicular bisector, definitely you must take a particular length and you cut up and down, right? And then from the same B, without changing the sign or without changing the distance, you cut up and down, then you get to line. So, but the thing is, this particular piece of working is not tested alone. What you are tested is with the circle, and inside the circle you will have a triangle, and for the triangle's one side you will have to draw a perpendicular bisector, right? So even though we, like similar to the theorem we discussed, we study the construction one by one, right? Individually separate, but still you are tested in a bulk. So for that, you need to have a good practice of the papers, right? Cool. So that is the end of the perpendicular bisector, which is very, very is. And make sure you mark these two sides are equal, because that is bisector, and you have the perpendicular 90 degree. Okay, right. And drawing an angular bisector, or angle bisector, or angular bisector, right? Basically you have an angle there, right? And then you will draw a small arc there using these 2 points that you have on the arc, right? Without changing the distance, you will draw your construction from here and from here, and when you connect, you will get these two angles bisected equally. Guys, disregard these, I'm drawing with my hand, so there might be some inaccuracies. So what you need to get is the idea of how to draw, right? Even a student has studied well suddenly might forget how to draw perpendicular bisector or how to draw angular bisector. So please revise and go. Don't have overconfidence. I suggest you guys to at least draw at least one time, draw perpendicular bisector, draw an angular bisector, right? And the other stuff, and go, right? So go throughout my tute and nothing is missed out, I guess, right? Okay, so construction of a circle is common, right? And then moving on to the construction of angles without protractor, right? Even though you are allowed to use the protractor to measure something, in certain cases, or in most of the cases, you are not allowed to use the protractor to measure and draw, right? Starting from 60 degree, which is the very basic one, and the multiples of 60. I have just listed out here every single angle, or every single angle that is a multiple or as a division of 60, right, can be taken, right? I have listed out starting from 60 degree to 30, 120, 90, 75, 15, and 135. Each of these are possible even without a protractor. Obviously, half of 15, 7.5, right? So likewise, even you can divide them and draw as well. But for everything, we will start with a base of 60, isn't it? So for us to draw a 60 degree, right, we will basically have a straight line, and from a point, right, and you will take a distance on your compass, right, and you will have a small arc, or maybe a small half circle. That doesn't matter, right? But without changing the distance. So make sure your compass is a good one, a good quality one, with it doesn't move here and there, right? And without changing the distance, we draw a small arc by crossing it from this point, right? And this is very basic. I just wanted to cover, right? And then you have a point here, and you connect this and draw, right? It must be somewhere here. So this you get 60. So 60 is the base of drawing any of this, isn't it? 60 is the base of drawing any of these. So I would repeat, right? If you want to draw a 60 degree, right, and then you draw the way we mentioned here, but to draw a 30, how to do that? We use the angular bisector that we use here to draw the 30 degree. So that means we will draw, how to draw the 30? We will draw a 60 and divide by 2. That is the way how we get a 30 degree. But guys, the examiners are so skilled to identify or to catch you if you have used the protractor, right? So say for example, if you want to draw a perpendicular bisector, or if you want to draw an angular bisector, let's say, right? If you are really using your compass, definitely you must get these kind of lines, isn't it? These kind of two crossing line segments, right? So when I was correcting one of the papers, I noticed the guy or the girl has used the protractor to use it, right, to draw this, and then they have marked the line like this, which is the exact opposite of it, right? So we can see if you have done a good job or you're going to cheat him, right? So don't try to use your protractor for this and then draw, and then finally, yeah, we can mark like this, no small lines. You can, no, you can't do, right? For that, you need to have a good practice, right? How to cheat the examiner. So don't do that, right? So let's use the method we are allowed to use, right? Okay. So if you use this, so definitely we know that you have not used it, even though when we measure and see it is 60 degree or 30 degree, whatever it is, you are not given mark, because for the construction, all the construction point, line, segments, and everything, bits and pieces matters a lot. So, right, That's the reason. Some students say, I did the question well, the paper well, and came home, right? But you couldn't do the construction well. So that might be the reason where you may be expecting for an A and you end up B. So I don't want anyone to take B, all A's, right? Right. So for 120, how do we do? So we go 60 and we add another 60, right? We draw a 60-degree, and with that point we draw another 20. So go home, right? And then please do these questions again, right? So sit with the paper, sit with the construction tools, and please draw each of these. 120, 90, how to use 60 plus 60 and divide the second 60 into 2. That means you get 60 and a 30, then you get 90, right? How to get the 75? You draw a 60 and a 15. To get the 15, you need to draw a 30 and divide it by 2. So these are the way how we know how to get the 15. If you know how to get the 30 and draw the angular bisector of it. So 30, you divide by 2. So likewise, for each of these triangles, right? So how to draw the 105 or 135, right? So likewise, right? 105 also you can draw. So therefore, guys, please do a good job and draw these and see at home. 62, 135, at least draw once, right? One of these will be there in the paper, right? So then you will remember me or my name in the exam hall, right? So that's our happiness. So please draw one by one at home and then practice on this. So I have just revised the area, so these are possible to be tested, and then please do draw and go, because drawing and the construction online is way a bit, right? So come for copying a given angle. So this is very rare, but still this is there in your syllabus. Copying a given angle. Now say for example, you have an angle here, right? Or even let's look at this one. And if you want to copy this, actually you need to measure the gap between this point, the C and the B, using your compass, right? And then you can draw a similar one here. That's what this particular diagram illustrates all about, right? So copying an angle, now if this is 72 degree, if you measure this particular length and the length between AB, then you will probably get the same value. Even 72.5, 72.8, you must be getting the exactly same, that is copying an angle. But this is very rare to be tested, but it has been tested in the past paper. But so make sure you don't skip and go for this construction of or the copying a given angle. Okay, right. So we have discussed the very basic four loci, and then we have the construction of triangles now. The construction of triangles. So we have already discussed the congruency of triangles, right? So when it comes to construction of triangles, so there can be three type of question can be given to you in the exam. So asking the construction of a particular triangle. So there can be length of three sides can be given to you. Let's say for example, AB is this much, BC is this much, and AC is also that much, right? So then we will use three side. All three sides are given to you. Then you don't need to look, or you don't need to think about the interior angles or anything. Just take the measurement given to you. That is your first type of your construction, right? Where all three sides, so three sides are given to you. You can highlight this word, three sides, when the length of the three sides of a triangle are given. That is one way. The second way of giving or drawing a triangle can be tested when the two sides, right? Two sides and the magnitude of one included angle. Again, included angle, what is the meaning of it? When you are given two sides, now let's say these two sides are given for a triangle, and you must be given this angle, guys. That's called included angle. And then you will have to just draw this side, I mean this side. You will be given this, the angle and the side. That's called when the length of two sides and the magnitude of included angle are given, right? And when the magnitudes of two angles and the length of the side are given, the third type of the question can be tested is on when the magnitude of two angles. So here two angle and one side, this is AS, right? but not congruency, right? So there can be two side and one angle given to you, or there can be two angle and one side. So always when you are drawing a particular triangle, always start with a base, right? Always you put a baseline and build on it. I strongly recommend for you guys to use a sketch diagram before you draw the actual one, right? Don't get this idea in the exam hall only. So when you practice from today itself, try to use the way I suggest, right? Please do a construction of triangles and the construction of circles that we will be discussing now, right? So I hope if you do that way, right, with a sketch, it will save your time. And even if you go wrong in the sketch, you can have, because that's a sketch all about, right? So you don't need to produce the sketch to the examiner, right? What you can do is you can give only the real one, right? So you can skip your sketch, so you can have the sketch in your rough papers. So you have a chance of taking whatever the number of rough papers you want in the exam hall. Clear? Right. So the triangles can be given in three ways. One is all three side, two side and one angle, and two angle and one side. So look for it. So sir, what are the information given to us is very important, right? Say for example, if you look at one of the past papers, let's say the 2019 past paper we have, yeah, question number 8 is all about your construction. Use only a straight edge. Okay, guys, use only a straight edge with a centimeter millimeter scale and a pair of compasses for the following construction, which means they say don't use the what? The protractor. Please don't use, but you can use the protractor once you are done drawing, just to measure. Okay. Right. So there are 5 questions part by part. For each of these part, you are given marks. So even if you go part wrong, for the balance remaining, you get. So until the end, if you get the proper way, right? But it is very rare that you can go correct in the latter part if you make the wrong in the initial part. So it has to come with the practice, right? Not only understanding the way how to construct, because even though we study individually separate, the question is all about this, right? So Roman number 1 to 5, if you look at the 2009, so you guys must have done this, right? And you go back in the past paper, right, throughout, and finish it at a stretch if possible. So the number 1, they say construct a straight line segment AC of length 6 centimeter. So when you're drawing a AC with 6 centimeter, you have to use your ruler and use the compass to measure that 6 centimeter and construct the line AB. Or even you can draw a line AB, right? And then mark the 6 centimeter over there. And they have given you CAB equal to 60 degree, right? So CAB equal to 60 degree. So how to draw a 60 degree? As you know already, right? So to draw a 60 degree, we basically have a straight line, right? And then from here, or from whatever the side you wanted, right? So you will draw a sketch, and then from here, right? So whatever the method you wanted, what is important here is the way how do we construct, right? So you have a point, and also you can have the 60 degree if you want to the right hand side or left hand side, you can decide on your own. So let's say you have 60 degree over here, right? And then this Roman number 2 they ask in 2019 paper is construct the angle bisector of CAB. That means you are making it as 30, right? Construct the circle that, so likewise the Roman number 3, construct the circle that has center O on the above, construct the angle bisector and touches AC at C. So likewise, what you need to do is from Roman number 1 to 5, this is just an example I'm showing, go through one by one and draw on your sketch. Then sometimes the line must go upside, but you might have drawn downwards. then you can erase and take it upside, because it's still your sketch. Within 1 or 2 minutes you can quickly finish the sketch part. So then based on your sketch, draw your real one, right? Okay, the most important ones, right? Construction of circles related to triangles. So when it comes to the triangle is concerned, right, and the circle with a triangle, there can be three types, isn't it? So everyone must have studied this before: circumcircle, incircle, and Xcircle, or circle, inscribed circle, or Xscribed circle, or Xcircle, right? So one important thing that you need to understand, because in the exam they never say, or it's very rare that they say these terms, circumcircle or incircle or Xcircle. It is your responsibility to draw, to understand, and to pick which one it is. It is a circumcircle or incircle or Xcircle, right? Because you need to get or you need to find out the center point of each of these circles, right? Whether this is incircle or Xcircle, or sometimes there can be some different type of circles, right? So if you do past paper, we will understand, right? So what I'm doing is I'm taking you closer to the past paper. So when you do a past paper, when you have a circumcircle, then come back to the tube and see the way how it is done. So I'm telling you, so how the circumcircle is drawn. You might have a triangle over there, but there can be perpendicular bisector and there can be angular bisector. These are the two important things that you need to understand for each of these three type of circles. If it is a circumcircle, that means the circle that is on outside of the triangle. For that, if you can see these blue dotted lines, they are perpendicular bisectors of this side CB and the side AC, right? So for you to draw the circumcircle, remember that you need at least two perpendicular bisectors. So you can write it as a short note. If you need a circumcircle, you need to have at least two circumcircles. Cool? And if you even if you have three, even if you draw the circumcircle, the perpendicular bisector of this, it will probably come this way, right? But at least you need to have two perpendicular bisectors to make sure that you get this circumcircle, right? So then when you draw two perpendicular bisector, then you will get a point where these two touches, right? The intersection point, because that is your midpoint, right? Or your center of the circle. So from that, the 3.2 shown in the diagram is the radius, right? So then from C to S to C, you can measure and you can draw the circle all around the triangle. So that will make your life easier. So remember, one thing you need to understand, or you need to remember, is if you need to draw a circumcircle, then you need to have at least two perpendicular bisector. So you can have a small chart or small table to make sure you don't forget this. Circumcircle, two perpendicular bisectors, right? At least any of the two sides, right? Moving on to the incircle or inscribed circle, right? Incircle or inscribed circle that has to touch all three sides. Some student draw, it touches two sides and doesn't touch third side. Then you must have done a mistake, because even a millimeter makes a big difference. And one advantage that we have in the exam, the examiner is okay for up and down maximum of 1 or 2 millimeter, right? If it is 2.5, you can go up to 2.6 or 2.7. That's the maximum margin, or even 2.4. If it is the real one is 2.5, you can fluctuate or you can deviate only a millimeter or two maximum, right? Because that accuracy has to be there when you draw a particular thing. So if you don't draw accurately, or if your construction tool is not that accurate, right, then you probably don't get these three sides touch. So now the most important thing here in an incircle, or if you the incircle, right, it's touching all three sides. So if you need to touch inside, then you need to have at least two angular bisectors. So you can add on to the table now. Encircle meaning two angular bisectors. Now, how can we easily memorize this? How can we easily memorize? If it is Xcircle, sorry, if it is circumcircle, because circumcircle is outside now, then you can have what do you have in outside of the triangle? Then our sides. So then you can have two perpendicular bisectors. And you can link the encircle or inscribed circle with the perpendicular, because perpendicular bisector that we are drawing is inside the triangle. So that way you can memorize. So if you memorize the encircle, then automatically the uh, circumcircle is known, right? So that way you need to have shortcuts, right? So in mathematics or in science, there are a lot of way of memorizing it, but because I don't want you guys to draw perpendicular bisector for this encircle and then realize, oh no, what we need is the angular bisector. Then you have already wasted your time. Even 10 second or 20 second matters a lot in the exam, right? So I just don't want you to guys to waste the time in the exam. So keep in mind, for encircle, we need to have at least two angular bisector. Even if you draw the third one, you will probably get the same line like this. Right. So guys, please keep your microphones muted. Thank you. So a angular bisector is required, at least two angular bisectors. So if two is required, don't go for three, because still you're wasting the time, isn't it? So that is the encircle. So summary, circumcircle will need to be drawn with two perpendicular bisector, and encircle need to be drawn with two angular bisector, right? And the combination of both is the Xcircle or Xscribe circle, where the circle is outside by touching one side of the triangle as well as two line that has been extended or produced. We say the line is produced over here, right? So the line is, this line is produced outside, and this line is also produced outside, right? So the Xcircle must be touching. So for that, what do we need, right? As we said, as we can see, there is a perpendicular bisector over here, and there is an angular bisector over here, right? So you can add to your chart or the table now. For an Xcircle, what we need is one angular bisector, that is the outside angle, and one perpendicular bisector, that is of the side for which the circle to be drawn, because the circle should be drawn to this side now. So get the perpendicular bisector of it, and then now you can use one of these exterior angles to get the angular bisector for. So why are we calculating all this? Two angular bisector, two perpendicular bisector and all. That is the point where which gives us the center of it, right? The center of it. Cool. So that is our Xcircle. So if I summarize, guys, for circumcircle, two perpendicular bisectors, you can have a small table over there, right, as you wish. Encircle, two angular bisector, and Xcircle or Xscribe circle, one angular bisector and one perpendicular bisector, right? So clear. So these are all to find your final center point, right? Also try to have accuracy at least up to say millimeters. So one or two can be deviated, but not beyond that is accepted, right? So I enable questions now. Right, you can put your question, any question you might have in the chat box. Yes, we will. Yeah, if you have not got the tute, we can share with you, and there's a link also, so we can send that, right? So once again, can you explain the Xcircle? Excuse me, sir. For the theorems, should we write the theorems completely? If we write in short, we will lose marks. No. You are not required to write in detail, but try to make sure you are making it a summary version and write within 1 line or within 2 line maximum, because otherwise you have to write the entire theorem, right? So write the important major point of it is, so then you will not lose any mark on this, right? So Xcircle. Now, what is Xcircle? Xcircle is something, right? This one, right? The Xcircle has to touch. So let me erase the part that I have drawn already. So the Xcircle is something, the circle that touches one point of a particular side, and also it has to touch this point and this point as well. These two are the dotted lines are the ones that are extended outside, right? So the extended point also to be touched, and also this has to be touched. So for that, you need a center point this, right? So how to find out the center point? That is using the Xcircle, right? And the combination of uh, outer circle. That means for a Xcircle, what we need is one perpendicular bisector and one angular bisector, right? So moving on to the last part, construction of a tangent to a circle, right? So construction of a tangent to a circle. So we have through a point on the circle. So there can be two now. This also we have already we have discussed in the theorems, right? So whatever the features we have discussed in the theorem are the ones that we are using to draw this particular construction of the tangent. That's the reason why I have combined, or I have coupled the trigonometry, the triangles, the construction with the area that we have discussed, the theorems, right? Okay, so when you look at this, right, so you will have a circle, and what we need is the tangent drawn from an external point, right? As you can see, we will draw arcs here and here, right? And then using that, we will draw an external line. So we need to make sure this is 90 degree, right? Because that is a perpendicular bisector, because we know the line that touches at the point of contact is 90 degree for the line that comes from the circle, from the center of the circle. Is that clear? So that is, so the angles you can disregard, but based on the feature, you can draw this, right? So if you draw one line from here, it is the same thing that you will copy to the other side. So there can use, even if you are drawing from this side, right, or if from this point or whatever the point that you are starting from, it doesn't matter. You need to make sure it touches only a single point on the circumference, or even if it can't go in that way, right, you will have to right. Okay, so if you have any question, we can yeah, discuss in detail, and also we can go or move to a past paper question, right? Let's see the 2017 paper. So what I have given you is the summarized version of the construction, guys. So construction won't come with the practice in the class. It will come with your own idea, and also with your understanding of how do you observe, or how have you accumulated the area, the skill of the construction, right? So and starting from the how you touch or how you use your tools, right, to the accuracy of the measurements, right? So make sure you do a good job on that part. So again, even in 2017 paper, they say use only a straight edge with a centimeter or millimeter scale and a pair of compasses. So again, they say not to use the protractor, right? For the following construction, show the construction lines clearly. Construct the line ABC, right? Construct a triangle ABC such that AB equal to 80, AC equal to 7.5, BAC equal to 60. Guys, out of the methods that we have discussed, how this can be tested, this triangle can be tested in 3 methods, right? Or as I told you, the first method is there can be 3 sides given. Second method where 2 sides and 1 angle, and 2 angle and 1 side. So if you look at the 2017 paper, it is two sides 8 centimeter and 7.5 centimeter. Two sides are given and one angle is given to you. So how to start with? Start with the angle, right? And then you can go with the thing, right? So I can roughly draw it on the whiteboard and show you guys, but you guys have to do a accurate working at home, right? And then they say construct the angle bisector of ACB. This is something similar to your 2019 that we discussed earlier, right? Already there is a question on angle bisector in 2019 as well, so there can be uh, a similar question in angle bisector but in a different way, right? Because other than testing angular bisector, perpendicular bisector and the circles, right, and the triangle construction, there's nothing in the construction. So what is required or what is important is your accuracy, right? And your sketch must be exactly same as the other, because moving forward from Roman number 1 to 2 to 3, if you have not done Roman number 1 and 2, then probably the third one won't come. So then you even realize, oh, I'm going in a different way, so this is not what is required. Then you can change if it is a sketch. If it is your actual drawing, you will lose your time, right? So I emphasize this on again and again and again, because I have seen many students lose their time. So, and also don't keep this particular construction question until the last, right? If it is a possible question, do it and finish it off and move on to the next question. Right? Right? Okay. Otherwise, you will come home with the right. So Roman number 3, mark the point D on the side BC such that CD equal 5 and then construct the circle that touches the side BC at point D and has its center O in the angle bisector of it. So I'm just reading this question to see whether they have mentioned any incircle, excircle or circumcircle words. Let's see. Even Roman number 3 has nothing word included in such, right? And even the fourth one, if you read from B, construct another tangent. So that means you see the Roman number 3 and 4 are linked together, because they say Roman number 4, they start with from B, construct another tangent to the above constructed circle and name the point at which it touches the circle as E. That means they are continuing, right? And the fifth one, construct the isosceles triangle ABP such that the point P lies on BE, produced an BAP equal to ABE. So for that, you need to have a proper construction first of all. Right. So if you have any question, then I can mark, then all else we can wrap up. Right. So even in 2019, there's one question, 2018, 17. If you go back throughout your past paper, definitely there are question in your paper. So it is for 10 marks. And also there can be a small question like a sentence type question in within your first 25 questions. So right, this chapter is also very much important. So I guess the way of what we discuss is clear, and also we have included some more question on the construction and all the part in the final series as well, where we will discuss. And there's one more question on that. So they won't give whether it is in circle or Xcircle. No, they will not say whether it's in circle or Xcircle. You will have to read by on yourself, and then you need to understand, right? We need to yes, we have to identify it is, right? Because they don't use, right? So if they say to touch 3 points, right, or if it is 3 vertices, then you know it is your circumcircle. If it is touching 3 interior angle, 3 interior sides, then definitely they say, yeah, you know, this is interior angle, right, or in circle, right? And then you need to have 2 angular bisectors. Same way, if it is an X circle, then they will say touching one outside or one side of the triangle, then that is X circle. So that is the way how the constructions are tested. Okay, right. If you have any question, and also we have scheduled our final seminars on February, right, where you guys can participate on, right? And it will be on 12th of February and 13th of February, where we are conducting through Zoom, right? So you will get these flyers. I have if you have not got yet, right, we will share these with you. And then Of course, for this we are charging a very minimal value of fee, right? Not like the earlier we did because of this pandemic and all, right? So here the most important thing that we are going to cover, right? We are trying to, your paper will include 75 plus part 1 question and 25 part B question, covering your entire syllabus. And also there, it is for day 1 and day 2, there will be 2 sessions on this, right? And we will do 3 hours per each day. Only questions will be tested, not much theory or the revision that we have done, but while we are doing questions, we will touch the points here and there, right? Okay, and where there we will discuss the mind map, how to have a mind map and how to have the formulas memorize easily, and the plan for targeting the high scoring areas, right? And the tips and techniques, how to handle the paper, how to do the paper and all, right? So yeah, that's up to you guys. Yeah, talk to me if there's any question or anything, right? You guys can talk to me, right? Or just drop me a WhatsApp message, then I'll be helpful. And have a determination in your mind that you will definitely do your paper very well, right? And then there's a question here. So labeling ABC should be done in pencil or pen. So it's, if you are confident that my uh, construction is perfect and you will have no issues, then definitely you can go for a pen. But it's okay even if you can use a dark pencil, it's fine, right? So there's no hard and fast rule for that as well, right? So with that, we can conclude today's session. So I will see you in our final seminar series, guys. So stay touch, and also if you guys need any I mean, even we are okay to schedule another free seminar depending on your requirements on the area that you need to. So because this is a 10 seminar series where we have been conducting, right? We have a separate for graph, and likewise we have uh, for area construction, area volume and all, we have a different session. So likewise we have designed, or I have designed it for like classified your segregated your entire syllabus into 10 parts, right? So where we have covered 4, 2 today and 2 in the last session that we did last month. So likewise we are okay, and stay in touch. So we will be sharing some valuable resources with you guys, and also subscribe on our YouTube channel. And I hope we got some insight today, and if there's anything on that, so just drop me a message. So there's one more question. So what are the conditions for RHS? So Sampath, so please drop me a message on WhatsApp. I'll explain you, Sampath. Okay, my number is 077. I hope you guys have it, and also I can share the link. So 077 6167 118. Okay, so yeah, I guess with that we can conclude today's session. So I wish every one of you all the very best. Okay, and thank you for your valuable time in participating in this. Okay, guys, good luck.
Okay, bye.